Yeah, that's a good one. How about you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna say, man, I'm a feeling that Yeah, I was gonna say, good to see you, man. Absolutely. You guys know each other? Yeah. Paul, Rich.
Rich, nice to see you. You guys know each other?
Yeah, back in the old days, I was way back in the day. Dude, I can't believe it. It's like blows my mind how like when you leave an industry like that, the departure, it's kind of interesting. What I've experienced. I'm gonna actually kick us off here in a second.
Yeah.
Get it all rolling. Absolutely. I think people can
All right, I'm Brandon. Hey, Rich, nice to meet
Guys, thanks again for coming. If you guys want to grab a seat, we'll get started here in about 2 or 3 minutes.
No, not at all.
I want to use my inside voice, right? That's right. That's how we do.
Sounds like you're outside.
What can I say? What can I say? Well, guys, thanks again for coming. Really appreciate it. And it's just so cool the fact that we're starting to get more of a track record here. 4 events last year, 6 this year. We're starting to see each other more regularly. You guys are starting to see more of the same people. It's just so appreciative of everything you guys are doing. But wanted to kind of dive into it without further ado. First of all, I want to appreciate and show appreciation for all of our sponsors, not only the ones that have hosted us in terms of food and beverage, but also the ones that have helped support us financially. Phenomenal partners, everything from the beverage industry with 3 Nations, St. Cora Tequila, Baker's Mark, Tito's on the food side. So appreciate Tovar and everything he's doing back there to serve you guys, in addition to Meet You Anywhere with Andy Cedino outside. Really appreciate it. He'll be serving that up here later on. And then also our platinum sponsors, Bloomfield Nova on the marketing side, Double M Squared Ranch, RHR Oil and Gas, Summit Financial, Dale Young's Own, Magnolia Turf, and then also 171, where we'll hear a little bit from them here in a moment. But so appreciative for all the sponsors, and if you are interested in sponsorship, let us know. We're continuing to make tweaks to it in terms of access as we continue to grow the event, the organizations that we have. But so appreciate all of what you guys do. Naturally, we talked a little bit about this, so I'll keep this brief. But ultimately, as you can see, an outdoorsman or outdoor enthusiast, speaking engagement is what we have really started with. But what we want to continue to drive towards is having almost like a united way for the outdoors. There's a lot of groups like Ducks Unlimited, Bonefish Charming Trust, Rocky Mountain Now Foundation that are out there that help bring biologists, try to add some value, but not many that bring it all together. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring engagement for people from a certain socioeconomic group to try to add value and do it not only from education, which is obviously as a 501c3 what we're known for, but also through financial support. So if you have an interest in getting involved and giving back to what gave you so much joy with people that you know and love in the outdoors, be it anything from big game hunting to saltwater fly fishing, this could be a place to do it. And if you have an interest in basic membership or anything as high as platinum sponsorship, again, we'd love to talk with you guys. And as a new addition, Dale Young, a new member of our board of directors, sitting here up front. He's been a phenomenal believer. In addition, all of these guys that you see here, really appreciative of what everyone's done to believe in the organization. But ultimately, I can't say this enough. It is so important that we have the right leadership and believers. And admittedly, we want this to go regional and national. So our intent is to make sure that, again, this is an organization that's driven primarily by people that are passionate about the sport. So be it the next locations in Austin or wherever it may be, there might be an opportunity if you have an interest in getting involved. We'd love to talk with you about that want to pass it to Charlie. The idea of looking at events is something that's come up. Some of you guys have shared that with us and what you want to do. What we've looked at doing is hosting more of an event in the means of a hunt here locally later this year. So I don't know if you all have ever been on a stocked pheasant hunt. Anyone been on a stocked hunt? So the idea is cool, but usually you have to travel, right? You have to go 5 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Charlie's Ranch is about an hour away. So it's pretty close. It's a smaller group. And our intent, although there's great ranches all over the state, is to make it more of a friendly relationship. Charlie does not advertise his ranch in the masses. It's, again, through a friend that we got introduced. He's got a great cabin down there. He's got big game and exotics. He's got a number of features there, but ultimately someone that's come from a more friendly relationship rather than someone that sometimes you can't really trust with some of these ranchers these days. We've got a phenomenal sponsor and a great friend in Charlie, so I wanted to give him the stage for a second to share with you a little bit more about that.
Thanks, Richard. So this idea started after the very first meeting last year with Kyle, who I've known since he was about this big. And my business partner and I, about 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, we bought a 200-acre high-fence rundown ranch in Streetman, Texas. The best thing about it is once you hit downtown, you are at our front gate in under an hour. And we did everything that we thought we wanted to do. We TLC, fixed everything, started protein feeding, and over the past 3 years, we've harvested 4 animals. This year, we're expecting almost 180 white-tailed deer to be dropped. We are not infested with whitetails, but we're about to be. We have red stag, black buck. We've introduced some new black bucks. We've introduced some new axes to the property. Everything is just great, except for the fact that Jason and I don't want people that we don't know on our property who tell the tallest stories and yet haven't even shot their gun in 4 or 5 years. So this started with me approaching Richard. I'm like, hey, listen, like if we have a working agreement where we can open up our ranch to people that we know and we feel that there is some accountability, because of the fellowship, then I think this might be an opportunity for us to kind of take the next step. And then Richard and I started talking about, we've got really great 2 big pastures that are great opportunities that we can grow the coastal to the right height, cut down pheasants in. And then we've got another field that converted over to all natural savanna grasslands that has a giant high fence backstop as well. So we started kicking around this idea to do the pheasant hunt, and our thought processes on this is that we're going to work on putting together a pheasant hunt, and then give whoever attends an opportunity to kind of see the facility, sees what the opportunities are. We've got 2 3-acre lakes on there. One of them is full of crappie. The other one is full of bass. They're small, but we're getting there. So it's just, I think what we thought is to start off with this pheasant hunt. Let the members come down and see what the opportunities are. And we don't really have just these massive trophies that you're going to spend a gazillion dollars on. But we do need some people to come down there and help us manage the wildlife, whether it's a red stag hind or a 2-year-old bull, or
You guys know what that means? Manage the wildlife? You know what that means?
herd a little bit. So, I think our first step, what I'd like to do is just 1, introduce myself to you guys, and then 2, let's get this pheasant hunt on the books. And I know I've got a pheasant hunt coming up in October in Idaho. It's a blasting cast, and my wife's not happy about the fact that I'm leaving on Wednesday and coming home on Sunday. But if I know that if I've got a couple hundred birds that are tucked in a hay field an hour south of downtown Dallas, and I can be home, I can make whatever event I need to attend that night. It's an attractive. We feel that it's something that's pretty attractive.
So logistically, to tie this down, so here's what we're thinking. The idea would be coming down maybe like a Friday morning. We go, we hunt at about 8:30 or so. That's about a 3-hour ordeal. We We have a little bit of lunch. Anyone who wants to hunt big game, there's about 2 feeders, but there might be some other places where you can host it. But ultimately, it's a 1-day excursion. So you're sleeping in your own bed that night.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
So my question, in addition to Travis, how does that sound? Does it sound good? So here's what we would probably do. We'd probably talk a little bit more about pricing. We're trying to figure out the bird situation now.
Right.
Once that comes together, we'll start diving into the details there. But we're looking kind of September, October-ish. And we appreciate guys like Jay who kind of brainchild in this, months ago. All of you all that express.
Right. And even if you're like, there could be some opportunities to hunt that like rifle hunt. But if you just want to come check the place out and say, you know what, I need to put some meat in the freezer, or hey, that bull right there, let's talk about him. It's pretty easy. We've got, like I said, we've got 2 big food plots with big nice deer stands on them, and we've got buggies. We got 1 buggy with a high rack, so we can do a safari style. And by the way, this would be my first and only hunt I've ever sold. At the end of the day, this past August, we went through 16,000 pounds of protein in 45 days. And that got my attention.
Yeah,
So
Kyle and I went down there earlier last week, and we're talking between here and that wall, all the way down to that wall. So it's a pretty big number there.
We're not looking to make money on this thing. We're just looking to offset our protein costs and help us keep our keep the animals under control a little bit. And that's another reason why. I feel that this is probably a good fit for us. And hopefully, you guys get down there and check out the place, you'll understand why we don't want a bunch of people we don't know down there.
Absolutely. Well, Charlie, thanks for your sponsorship.
Absolutely.
Admittedly, we're going to dive into the meat of the conversation. So, Chris Johnson, great friend and client of mine, but also, most importantly, conservationist, active guide, fly shop owner, living water fly fishing, down in Central Texas there in Round Rock, filmmaker, photographer, fly fishing international, certified casting instructor, massive believer, certified fly tire. Trying to think of what other titles I'm thinking. I was gonna say there's a lot, but phenomenal conservationist, active in every level of fly fishing, as you can obviously see. He's been a great friend to me. I appreciate his passion, which is what you're about to see and showcase. But I think what's cool, more than anything else, that you all will see here, and part of the reason why we thought it would be great to have him share his story with you is, I don't know if you all have ever seen Deep in the Heart, the film that was made about Texas and just documenting it. You'll see a lot of that feeling in the way that he'll showcase his photographs and videos. And admittedly, one of the films that he had made, he'll showcase as well. But ultimately, so appreciative of Chris being part of our group today and diving deeper into it, and welcome him to the fellowship. Thank you. Oh yeah, let me
Just switch this over real quick.
Make it rolling.
Switch here. Pop that one. Good to go. That's all I need right there.
Excellent.
Well, thank y'all for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak to groups of people that are excited about what I'm excited about. So that's the fly fishing is part of it. Here we go. We're off to the races. Hopefully all the technology works and we'll see what happens. But as Richard was saying, I'm Chris Johnson, owner of Living Waters Fly Fishing in Round Rock, Texas. So we've got a guide service and fly shop that basically operates down there. And obviously we are hosting this event in a fly shop. So I will unapologetically say, support your local fly shop. I know that from being one. And I mean, we tell people all the time, it's like, while we have, a lot of great stuff going on in Texas, we do have a lot of great local fly shops in a lot of our larger municipalities and stuff like that in city areas. And so please support the local fly shop. If you got one, don't you dare call me if you haven't called here first. So that's something really important. Support those that keep the fly community alive here locally as well. So thank you to Tailwaters for hosting tonight. Tonight the presentation is on fly fishing the Republic of Texas. Now, if you're like me, I would think that would be awesome to have one fishing license that covered all of that. That's no longer the case. And I have a lot of friends in New Mexico and a lot of friends in Colorado. I am not trying to annex all that territory and make it Texas again. That is not what this presentation is about. But if you'll notice, that is where we're located, right there in the middle. And we are going to talk about, how many of y'all actually travel west to go trout fishing at all? Anybody? You got all that? Okay. So if you go up there, if you're from here, we're kind of raised on the bass and the sunfish thing. And that's a totally different ball of wax, or so we think, than a lot of the western state fishing that we do for trout and things of that nature. And then when we go to the western states to do trout, what do we wind up doing? Brown trout, rainbow trout, brook trout. Not a lot of people really focus on the trout that actually belong there. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. To launch into it, this is us. We're located in downtown Round Rock. So we are very, very happy to help you. If you are ever in our area, we can definitely help you get equipped to go wherever, whenever, however. But once again, I will say it again, do not call us before you call your local fly shop. We're happy to help, but don't you dare call us without calling the people in your backyard first. So if we're going to look at fly fishing the Republic of Texas, and what I mean by that is kind of the overall Texas Hill Country, kind of western area, all the way up through kind of high mountain Colorado. We're going to kind of focus on that area specifically. There's a lot of things you're going to need to add to your arsenal that you may or may not already have. First off is a 6 to 8 foot fly rod, something smaller. I prefer like a 2 to 5 weight. I typically favor the smaller end of that equation. I'm a huge Scott fly rods fan, and so if you want to test any of those out tonight, they got a rack full of them over here, and I will gladly watch you cast the best loops of your life. So I love them. But nonetheless, Scott, I love their F series. It's a little fiberglass rod, and their G series, which is a little softer. Wakeford fly lines. There's a number of great ones out there. I'm a big scientific angler guy, so a creek trout line is a very compact front taper, very easy to cast. If you are kind of one of those people that has a difficult time casting a fly line, that one was made for you. So there's hope. Don't worry. Small leaders, 6 to 7.5 foot. 2x through 5x. I keep a range of sizes depending on what fish I'm fishing for. I love this damn dogs right here in the fly shop. Good stuff. Hemostats, clamps, just tippet that matches, all this sort of stuff. These are equipment that everybody has in their pack if they fly fish, but there's a few things in here that you have no idea what they are. Does anybody know what an amadou patch is? Anybody, slip up a hand. Anybody? One person in the room. All right, an amadou patch is actually this little bitty tiny kind of oval shaped thing that's actually a mushroom. And this is weird, it's normally sandwiched between two pieces of leather, or my favorite is cork. And if you squeeze a wet dry fly, so if you soaked your fly or a fish is eating it, and you take it and you squeeze it in that amadou patch, it literally vacuums the water out of the fly. It's incredible. It's like literally the only magic trick we have as dry fly anglers is squeezing it in the amadou patch and the fly's dry. It's amazing. But keep you some basic powder-based floatants for just general fishing. And then I would mention this, a lot of people forget this. An oil-based floatant is really important as well when you're fly fishing, because in the mountains, you're going to get rained on. And if you get rained on, powder doesn't play nice, but oil and water don't mix. So you can still float a dry fly with oil-based floating pretty easily. General equipment and clothing. I like natural colored clothing. I mean, a good olive green, tans. I'm a huge camo proponent. I fish in a lot of camo. I have a lot of funny stories about that. We'll save those for a later date. The polarized glasses, Smith, they've got a whole case of them right here. The polar chromic ones are awesome, and I like them for Central Texas, and I also like them for the mountains. And these lenses right here are the only lenses that are made that have this degree of polarization that actually darken and lighten as the sun goes up and down, or as you move in and out of the trees. So if you're in a meadow fishing for cutthroat trout and it's bright, they darken up. As soon as you go pop in the woods to go hunt for some fish up the creek, these lighten up and allow you to see. These things have been a game changer for me. Wet wading shoes, something good that's comfortable. You're probably going to put some miles in the hill country and in the high country. And there's all kinds of things, whether it be neoprene wet wading socks or even a waterproof sock like deck shell or sealskin that basically allows you to have a knee-high waded. That's kind of neat, where it's actually like a wool hiking sock that has a waterproof membrane in it that allows you to stay dry. So you don't like getting your feet wet? Me neither. So keep those things about knee-high. You can go stomp through whatever creek you want to up there. Waterproof packs and slings, whether it be fish ponds, sims, whatever. Everybody makes a good one. You find the pack that fits you, just keep your stuff dry, because you will probably want a little bit of layering in there as well, because it can get cold at a moment's notice. Water bottle with filter, emergency first aid supplies. If you stick a hook in yourself, you trip and fall, you scrape something, always a good idea to have first aid. Water bottle with a filter is great, because if you ever run out of water, all you gotta do, big cup of the stream, screw the top on, you're good to drink. And that's something that is just absolutely worth its weight in gold if you're in the backcountry. And lastly, bear spray. Now, we don't really need that in the hill country as much. Unless, you just want to squirt your buddy with it for fun. But I would say with bear spray, the main thing is if you see a bear in the high country, it's not going to be very far away. We have several pictures in here that will kind of illustrate that fact. But nonetheless, those are some things to look for when you're packing your stuff. Rivers and creeks we'll kind of mention, and we'll mention a few of these tonight. Brushy Creek, which is in the hometown of Round Rock for me. San Gabriel River in Georgetown, just 15 minutes north of the fly shop. Frio River, Devil's River, Llano River, all western rivers towards the hill country. Devil's River being a little bit closer to the border of Mexico. Salado Creek, going to be just a few minutes north of Georgetown in the town of Salado. A lot of y'all, if you've never fished it, there's some antique shopping. It's great. If that's your jam, go do that. I would prefer to fish. So whatever you want to do there is fine by me, but the fishing is good. And then like other hill country streams like the Nueces, Upper Guadalupe River, things of that sort, there's a ton of rivers that fit this small kind of creek environment. You're like, well, wait a minute, the Devil's is kind of big. Let's talk about that. So the Llano River, while it is a wider river, and you'll see this, there's a lot of water that looks like this. That looks just like trout water. There's little boulders and pockets and runs and riffles. It's spectacular. It's a great place to take a lighter fly rod. You don't always have to take your textbook 9-foot 5-weight. Go explore kind of the offshoots of different channels and things like that. Downsize a little bit. And I had a conversation with a few people tonight. They're like, what rivers are there in Central Texas? And I'm like, I don't have time to count how many there are. It's amazing how much water we have in the hill country of Texas with tons of wildlife. This right here does not need a 5-weight fly rod. That is 2- and 3-weight territory for your bass that are going to average out in hill country. Our average bass is under 14 inches. Now, it's not to say they can't get dramatically larger, but that's our average. That's a great target on a 2-, 3-, 4-weight fly rod. Something a little bit lighter. Enjoy the fight some. Have some fun. I have never thrown a fly in that pocket right there and it not getting eaten. It's always getting eaten by something, whether it's a sunfish, Guadalupe bass, something of the sort. It's always a great time. I highly encourage people, think about this as bass water. This isn't just trout water anymore. So we see a lot of people that kind of come to this kind of environment. They're like, what do we even do here? I'm like, let's fly it. Just throw something out there, watch what happens. The Round Rock, this is actually the rock that named the town. Round Rock, the actual place where the shop is located. Chisholm Trail, which ran through Fort Worth, ran all the way down through Round Rock. They used this as a trail marker and a river gauge. If the water was all the way up here, they wouldn't ford the river with the wagons that they were using during the cattle drives. Instead, they'd wait for that water to drop and use that to know when it was safe to cross. The riverbed down there at the Round Rock actually still has wagon tracks running through the limestone bedrock. It's really incredible. The Brushy Creek is just something I consider to be one of those special waterways in all of Texas. And thankfully, our Parks and Wildlife Department, huge shout out to Texas Parks and Wildlife. If y'all do not support them directly, whether it be through volunteering, whether it just be, write them a note, for gosh sakes, do something. They are doing such a great job by so many of our urban fisheries. It's spectacular. Brushy Creek, there was a regulation that passed just a few days ago that now it is 5 fish bag limit in aggregate, which means that species like sunfish and Rio Grande cichlids and things of that sort are protected on Brushy Creek for the first time in all of history. That is made possible because of the fly fishing community that calls this creek home, and that's really spectacular. And now all fishing is regulated to rod and line only. Cast netting, seine netting, spear fishing, trot lines, all that's out because it is an urban fishery that needs to be carefully managed because we have some precious resources like genetically pure Guadalupe bass like you'll see on the banner here. That's one out of Brushy Creek. But Brushy Creek is fantastic. You'll notice that's no place for a 5-weight. You can leave that behind. That's a great place for a short rod, something 6, 7 feet long. Great place for that. Yeah.
What percentage of the fish in that fishery are wild? Or your definition? All.
Yeah, no stocking program.
Yeah.
They are wild as they come. And I mean, that's something that you will hear a lot. If you're familiar with the Guadalupe River and the trout fishery down there, sure, those are stock fish that can hold over through the year. But with Brushy Creek, these are native endemic species to the Texas Hill Country in most cases. And there's been a few that have been introduced, but that was, decades ago. And they're naturalized at this point. So it's really a special place. Can heaven be found on earth? I don't know, but that sure does look like it to me. The best part is everybody's like, what do you do for access? My car's parked right here. So it's not that, if you don't like walking a long way, not that bad. Yeah, it's not bad at all. Again, as we have an Instagram and Facebook, we post pictures of fish all the time on it. And it's really funny. We're like, oh, Chris is fishing his secret spot. And literally in one of the photos, you can see the reflection of the I-35 overpass. I'm just like, if it's secret, I'm doing a really bad job. I'm like, something's out of the bag here. But the Frio River, if you go out there, this is just another example of what Texas has to offer. The Frio River, you can spelunk to the river source where it literally flows out of the ground and out of a cave. That's what makes these rivers in the hill country. It's so spectacular. Maidenhair ferns, just beautiful places, tucked away pockets. If you're not in love with something like that, you got to check what you're loving. I'm telling you, this is spectacular water that is worth your time and effort, and it's just picturesque and beautiful. The San Gabriel River, another great candidate for this style of fishing, where it's shorter, smaller rods, intimate approaches where you're sneaking up on your fish. Got some hunters in the room. I love we're talking about wing shooting. I have a very large affinity for that that's getting slightly out of hand. But nonetheless, no comment in the back. I see my dad back there laughing. He knows. It's like, how many mornings can I wake up at 4:30 to go duck hunting in the season? We'll find out. We haven't figured that out yet. But nonetheless, when you get out here, this is something that's intimate. It's close. You're hunting and fishing at the same time. I hear so many people like, oh, I don't have the patience for fishing. I'm like, I don't have the patience for how you do it either. I'm like, I do not want to sit there and watch a bobber. That seems miserable. That's like watching grass grow. You can you can leave that for somebody else. But this right here, when you're in gin clear water and you are sight fishing and everything is right in front of you, it is an absolute blast. This water right here is less than a mile upstream of I-35. It's incredible. Most people don't even have any idea that exists right there above town in Georgetown. Phenomenal water, incredible fishery, crystal clear water. Very good example of what to wear on a nice bluebird day like that. If you've got a sky blue shirt, I know you can buy those here. So I actually have my eye on one over there. The Sims Guide shirt's by like my absolute favorite shirt for all time. I love that thing. But that's just a great idea. Is anytime you are fishing in brush, match the backdrop. Anytime you're fishing with blue sky in the background, what fish don't have eyelids. They can't close their eyes and get rid of you. They have to look at you. So make sure you look like whatever's behind you. The Devil's River. This is one that's considered more of a larger river. If I were to send people to, I'd say, yeah, bring a 6-weight, a 7-weight, something like that. But if you'll notice, this river doesn't stay big forever. It hits these reed thickets down here, and it splits off into all these little creeks and streams and stuff like that. The river basically splinters into 20 or 30 channels. That is no place for a 6-weight. That's a great place for a good short 5-weight or short 4-weight. Get in there and have some fun, and you might wind up tangling into a 2 to 3 pound bass, and you've got not a whole lot of rod in your hand. If you ask me, that's kind of exciting. That may not be your ball of wax, but I love that kind of stuff. And so going to the Devils, it is a picturesque place. The fishing is great, the scenery is better. I see everybody's like, oh, I can't wait to go to the Devils. I'm going to catch the biggest smallmouth of my life. Just write that off. You might catch a really great fish. That is not what you're going to remember about the Devils. You're going to remember the Native American art. You're going to remember the fact that this is actually Texas. It is amazing. The water is clear. The bird life is awesome. I probably ought to launch into this too. Do we have any birders in the room? Any bird watchers? Anybody? Nobody? Seriously? No? Okay. We're going to have to blast through that section. So we got a lot of birds in this presentation. So we're gonna mention names and move along.
Chris, talk about how you get to where you want to go. Like, I've heard access to the Devils is crazy.
Terrible.
It's awful.
There is some public access through the state natural areas and through Baker's Crossing. And fun fact, you can actually paddle upstream from Baker's Crossing. I didn't say that out loud in public, but nonetheless, you can do that. There's some really great access up there as well. But the Devil's River is typically a 3 to 4 day float, depending on how you want to plan it. And if you're going to do a longer float, sometimes it may take as many as 5 days if you want to fish it thoroughly and well. That's a lot of gear. That's a lot of prep. That's some camping. You're sleeping on some rocks. It's not a whole lot of fun, but the fishing is worth it. It's an incredible experience and very remote. The drive from where I'm standing back to the main road, just to get on this ranch, is an hour. Just from the main road to where I'm standing here. So it is remote, but that's what makes it wonderful. So let's talk about other things in Texas that really make a difference here. So if you think trout fishing, what do you think? You think mayflies, stoneflies, caddisflies, midges, small stuff like that. Texas has its fair share of that. It's not just a bass bug, big streamer game in Texas. So we've got all kinds of mayflies, all kinds of caddis. I mean, there's a perfect example. There's a spider web full of trico mayflies. Why is that important? Because when these little mayflies look like little sailboats going down the river, the very next thing that usually happens to them is that right there. And that's where a fish is going to absolutely suck down that mayfly with reckless abandon. And that should have been your fly. So that's the whole idea. I mean, I have a picture here. This is incredible. It's a little hard to see here, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different fish rising on mayflies and dropping the shut. And that's incredible to be on hatches that rival, Western hatches, but they're not trout, they're sunfish. And this isn't a large fly. This isn't your chartreuse, bluegill popper. These are small trout flies, and we're fishing for fish that key in on natural insects at a degree that not many of us really pay attention to. I cannot tell you in how many years of guiding, how many times my trout box has bailed me out of a bad situation on a guide trip, where it made the day and we caught all of our sunfish, all of our small bass, catching them on insects that were in the current, just like trout fishing, whether it be a hopper dropper technique, whether it be swinging emergers, anything of that sort. It's amazing for them. But we've got sunfish all over Central Texas, long-ear sunfish like this. This is the western color phase, which I think is absolutely gorgeous. These photos are not edited for color. They honestly are this color. I mean, that looks like it belongs in saltwater. That is a freshwater native fish to the hill country of Texas. And I mean, if you don't think that's good looking, the problem is with you. I promise you that. That is a beautiful, beautiful fish. Every long-ear sunfish has that white edge on that fin, just like that. It's really, really incredible. White edge on that operculum, if you will. Red-ear sunfish, the joke here is if your sunfish has a double chin, it's legit big. But that's the whole deal, is these fish are bottom feeders. They really concentrate more on feeding on subsurface insects. They have the nickname shell cracker because they eat a lot of snails as well. Green sunfish, more ambush predator than they are anything. They actually use cover. They can get to pretty large sizes, but that electric blue right through those cheeks is something that's so incredible to see. And I love catching these guys. They've got an attitude that's almost as big as Texas. Bluegill, we all grew up on them. They get their name for that right there, but everybody doesn't pay attention to the rest of the fish. They're an exquisite species, and let's be honest. If I ever left Texas, I wouldn't miss my bass nearly as much as I miss my sunfish. They keep it real every day of the week, man. They will feed all winter long, on the best days, on the worst days. They will oftentimes save your hide when the bass don't want to play. Largemouth bass, America's game fish. Once again, reference that is a 6-foot 2-weight fiberglass fly rod. That fish was a lot of fun on that rod. On a 5-weight, it still would have been fun, but not as proportionally much fun as fishing on small rods. So really great things here. If you're in water like this, you'll look. This is not big water. These are good-sized fish that you can fish for with a 3 or a 4 or a 5-weight. It's shorter. It's more of a creek tool. They're a lot of fun. And like this one off the Devils, this is great. This came out of a backwater channel that you can't fit a big boat through. So all the guides that run down it, they don't fish that water. You can hop out of the boat, wait around where everybody blows through it, and it's an exceptional experience. But the largemouth bass is a lot of fun. Some of them get to incredible sizes, and let's be honest, they keep us on our toes more often than not. And don't think that small water cannot produce a large fish. I mean, that's one that's over 6 pounds out of Russian Creek, for gosh sakes, right there in Round Rock. That's a lot of fish in a little bitty water. And catching a 6-pound bass out of a reservoir on fly, that's a feat by any measure. Doing it out of water that you can jump across in places, that's equivalent of like a 10 to 12 pound bass somewhere else, because this is a proportionately larger fish in that water body. So it's incredible. Now, does anybody know what the state fish of Texas is? Let me get a hand. Anybody? I mean, you're hosting. Is that even fair? Let me get to over here. Let's go in the back.
Is the Guadalupe bass?
Very good. All right. Well, since you answered correctly, I got something for you. Let's go with fly fishing Austin to Central Texas.
Awesome.
That's so
I see why you didn't call on me.
You can get one of those. I'm gonna make you buy yours. I'm gonna make you buy yours. Nah, I already buy your hats. So the Guadalupe bass, it is endemic only to the Texas Hill Country, and no, that is not my hand. I did buy the ring, but that is not my hand. All right. So with that, the thing that's really awesome about this is this fish is made for Texas. It exists only in the Hill Country, and you want to. Oh, that's a good looking fish, man. That is. I love that fish. Once again, you don't think that's good looking, something's wrong with it. That's a great looking fish. I mean, here's the thing. These markings here, you've got kind of these blotch markings on the back. You'll see this lateral striping on the bottom half of the fish. How do you know you caught a Guadalupe bass when you're in Central Texas? It's a really, really easy way to tell. All you got to do is do like every one of those pro bass fishermen you see on TV. Grab that fish by the bottom lip and look in his mouth. Every bass has a tongue. On that tongue is a little brown spot. It'll be somewhere olive green to kind of a light brown. And it's a tooth patch. It feels like sandpaper. If you've never rubbed a bass's tongue, you just haven't lived yet. So we're just gonna keep you going. Rub that tongue. It's got the tooth patches to go out with bass. Congratulations, you caught the state fish of Texas. They are quite incredible. They are beautiful fish, and I mean seriously, I mean that's just gorgeous. That just makes me think hill country all over. Once again, fiberglass rods, and I will throw this in here for a reason. Some of these creeks are great for a small raft or kayaks. I mean, I'm standing on one bank and that's the other bank. That's not a whole lot of water. That's maybe 35 feet across, 30 feet across total. Not a lot going on there, but it's got some incredible fish that hide up in these roots and undercut banks. Amazing, amazing water to work with ultralight tackle. It's a lot of fun. And let's be honest, you can have some of the most memorable moments and picturesque moments in all of your life on a hill country stream right there at just the break of day. I love it. All right, does anybody know what that is? Anybody? We get a hand on this one. What do we got? Yes, very good. You know what kind? I'll still give you a book, but you know what kind? Rio Grande, that's right. There you go. So, fly fishing Austin, Central Texas. That'll put you some X's on the map there. This right here, or commonly referred to as the what the heck is it fish, because I mean, it doesn't look like anything else we have in Texas. The Rio Grande cichlid is the only native cichlid species in the U.S. And so that's something that's really special about this fish. Is we have this all throughout Central Texas. It is amazing. So once again, they get pretty big size. They have the worst attitude of any freshwater fish in Texas. See how this one's got a bloody forehead? Yeah, that's from ramming stuff with his head. I'm not kidding. They literally are that aggressive. They will attack each other. They will defend their young. And there have actually been I have photos, documented evidence where they were actually biting humans that would float they were in inner tubes on the Frio River, they would float into the cloud of their fry. There's these little round bite marks all on the legs of these people. It's hilarious. I said, if these things regularly got 5 pounds, I'd never step foot in the Texas River ever again. So that's my little girl and my wife there, and this is something that we've taught our kids from a very early age, how to ID fish, how to catch fish, how to enjoy the environment, and have fun on the river. And part of that, I see a lot of people, they spend most of their time looking down at fish, and they forget to look up and around. I mean, even in here, something as simple as a fly shop. You look at, if I just looked at the fly bins, I'd miss the fact that it's a really cool building. They got a lot of great pictures. I mean, the amounts are great, all that sort of stuff. If we do the same thing on the river, we miss the whole point of why we're out here, and that is we want to enjoy the entire environment. So plant life and foraging and all that sort of great stuff. The wildflowers of Central Texas, and redbuds blooming in the spring, and Cenizo sage on the Devils, and these guys, they're everything. But it's so awesome to be out there and to be a part of everything that's going on and to notice it. I see so many people that just don't notice what's going on and don't pay attention to what's right there. Sometimes we should pay a little more attention. And there's some of those that I prefer to avoid. But nonetheless, that's all part of the package, is enjoying it, seeing it, learning it. And does anybody know what that snake is? I don't have any more books to give away, I'm sorry, but anybody?
No more answers to the water snake.
Water snake, right. So here's just a real quick tip for everybody that fishes Central Texas and even North Texas as well. This is a diamondback water snake, which is a terrible name for a perfectly harmless snake. That right there, you see that yellow under the jaw? The cottonmouth doesn't have that. So you can see that in the back of the room. Repeating pattern all the way down the snake, yellow under the jaw. It's got yellow under the jaw, you're good. You'll ask, how do you know it's a venomous snake? And I get some people like, well, it's got an elliptical pupil. I'm like, if you're close enough to see its eye, you are doing it wrong. I'm like, you really should learn your field marks. Like, you're gonna get bit. But the whole thing being, and like you said, we got no birders in the room, so we'll just blow through this. But I mean, we've got incredible bird life in Texas. Orchard orioles and roadrunners and golden crowned night herons, yellow crowned night herons, and you got all kinds of birds of prey and our state bird. And I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. And some of them even outfish you on a regular basis, which is annoying. And I mean, so it's incredible to see everything that's happening around you that so many people miss. And I think that's something that if we walk away from the river and all we have is a picture of a fish in our hand, that's a good start. But let's look up a little bit more. Let's remember why we're there. And I think this is something that's so critical, as I see so many people take for granted everything that lives on these rivers and calls them home. We're just visiting. They live here. And as much as this is right here, that's my jam. That is my favorite bird in all of Texas. That is a green kingfisher. The only place you are going to regularly see those in the U.S. is in southern Arizona, and that's only because of the urbanization growth in Texas that has shifted their breeding range a little bit west. but Central Texas is the #1 place and pretty much the only place in the country to go find that bird. They are about that tall, and they are the F-16s of the river, man. They fly about this high above the water and just scream right down the river. They're so fun. The ringed kingfisher, on the other hand, is about that tall. They're literally crow-sized, and both of those birds, the green kingfisher and the ringed kingfisher, range as far south as Argentina. They're literally jungle birds, and the one that we see everywhere all the time is the belted, and they're kind of the mid-sized ones. So we've got all 3 native kingfishers right here in Texas. A lot of people are like, there's more than one? Yes, there is. You ought to go nerd out a little bit and get you a bird guide. It's okay, trust me, I won't tell anybody. So it's awesome. When you talk about hunting and turkeys and everything like that, vermilion flycatchers, and all these amazing species that call it home. I mean, everybody knows what that is if you're a wing shooter. And I mean, it's just incredible to me that so much of this gets overlooked and isn't seen, and is well worth your time and your effort to go explore and to learn about, and things that call this place home that most people never see when they fish. Now, I won't bore you with fish anymore. Let's talk about, or with birds anymore. Let's talk about how to fish. If you keep your eyes peeled enough, you will see these guys. And if you have good polarized glasses, you will notice that while they do camouflage, every single fish casts a shadow. Does not matter how well they camouflage, that shadow makes it happen. You can see that from a long way away, even when they're covered up in war paint like that. It's amazing. And this is what you hope to see, is a good group of largemouth or largemouth bass just patrolling a weed edge, and jealousy will catch you more fish than any fly in your box. If you put that fly right here, it's getting eaten. Something's gonna eat it. I can't tell you which one, probably gonna be that one, because I want this one, so it'll naturally be that one. But that's the whole deal, if something's gonna eat it. And this is what you hope. You find your fish, look for those shadows, and some of them camouflage pretty well. For all those turquoise polka dots on those cichlids, that camouflages pretty well in dusky lit environments. Throw you a grasshopper on in the heat of the summer, get you a bass underneath it, boom, he blows up on it. You got a dancing fish in some of the clearest water in the state, and let's be honest, rare fish in rare places with waterfalls in the background. That's what fishing Central Texas is all about, is enjoying every living moment, about having your feet wet in the water, just enveloping yourself in the entire environment of it all, and just breathing in some fresh air and soaking it all in. Now, how do we do this? Well, if this was a trout stream, we would teach you how to read water. And I don't currently sell a pair of sunglasses that has these little red dots on it where it highlights the fishable areas. I don't have a way to do that yet. When that technology comes out, I'll be sure to make it available to the public. But fishing these areas where it's deeper, slower water in these pools, so stuff like this where deep, flat water, you see a little vertical step down there, that's exactly it. You're fishing eddies and seams and edges, just like you do in trout fishing out west. And then if you move into real small water like this, what do you do to even start bothering with that? I mean, I've seen 14, 15-inch bass right there in a foot of water. Well, that's exactly where I fish. I fish on either edge of this fast water where fish are going to be sitting and lazy. All right. The bigger the fish, the lazier it is. It's just part of the deal. I mean, kind of, if you want to find me, go look for my pantry. That's a really easy deal. If you want potato chips and you're going to watch the ball game, are you going to the pantry and grabbing one chip at a time? No, you bring the whole dadgum bag with you. That's what's happening. So these fish are the same way. They sit where food comes to them, not where they have to go to food. And whether that be ambush predators like bass or surface and kind of water column feeders like sunfish, they're going to let the food come to them. And once again, you've got nice cut banks like this, where you see water bounce into that bank, it'll ricochet off, leaving this nice section of flat water against the bank. Great place to put a grasshopper or a pin or beetle. It's an awesome way to do that. And then if you don't know where to fish out of this picture, then come see me after class. But that should be pretty obvious. If they're not going to be here, that's going to be way too many calories expended. And so you're not going to get big by eating salad. Sorry. So this is one of the things, like, they're going to be over here lazy, munching on whatever they can fit in the mouth hole. That is how it works. Now let's talk flies a little bit. This is one of my favorites. This is one of my patterns called the Rio Bandito. Single greatest cichlid fly I've ever fished in my life. And it turns out it's been one of the best multi-species flies for me all across the state and even out of state as well. If you would like to take a picture of this list, I sure don't mind. And some of these are sold here, I'm sure. But yeah, in fact, I know they are. The Salted Creek Beach over there. There's a number of these that I would highly recommend. But just anything that's going to be those damsel fly nymphs, general small bait fish imitations, grasshoppers and stuff like that. Those are great flies for your small water environments and your hill country creeks. It's a lot of fun. Now, here's the part where it kind of takes a turn for the weirder, and that is, it gets hot here. Y'all notice that? It gets really hot. And I kind of want to go west every day. And my compass just begins to point a little bit further west as the temperature begins to rise. And so, you slap on the Scott Fly Rods Fuzzy Dice, you point the fishmobile west, and off we go. And we cross into, this is still the old Republic of Texas. That's the Rio Grande Gorge. This would have been Texas. That would have been Ain't Texas over there. So that's the whole deal, is this is kind of that old republic. And I like talking about this because these mountains here, the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, ring that edge all the way up by Santa Fe, going all into southern Colorado. This is the Blanca Massif is what it's called, the whole Blanca Peak complex. And right at the foot of that, you'll find Sand Dunes National Park, Great Sand Dunes National Park. Literally, it's the weirdest thing in the world to be in the Sahara Desert surrounded by 14ers. It is the craziest sensation you've ever had. Great place to explore, a lot of fun, and highly recommend if you've never been to New Mexico and Colorado and been in the high country at the changing of seasons. Did you know that trees actually do that up there? They don't do that here. But it's amazing that we get these just, veins of gold and orange, and it's just amazing. And if you hit it just right, it's snowing in the high country and still changing down low. It's so special. And I mean, it's such an incredible place to go visit, whether it be in the fall, whether it be in the summer. I mean, this is just a summer sunset. That's not a forest fire. That's literally a sunset. And it's just incredible to be up there and see what is out there. This is public, a lot of this is public land. I mean, that whole other side of this mountain is accessible to the public. It's amazing. Then this right here, public land, and you're on top of the world, and you don't have to hike to it, you can drive to it. And it's just incredible to have spots like this where you can just pick a forest road and go. That's one of Texas's weakest spots, is public land. And in Colorado, New Mexico, there's a ton of it. And it's all got creeks all over it. And I would highly recommend you go explore a little bit. Get off the beaten path. Get off your busy tailwaters. Like, I love the Rio Grande River. It's a blast to fish. Highly encourage you to do it. If that's all you ever did in Colorado, you're not going to see this. You won't get back there into the backcountry. And it's an amazing place. Beautiful night skies, shooting stars at night. It's awesome. And, columbines and wildflowers, if you're a flower person. And by the way, that right there, I love this stuff. Wild mint in Colorado. If you keep you a nice thing of tea in the car, pick you a couple of sprigs of that and shove it in that bottle of tea and shake it up, that's a good time. So, now, there's a stinging nettle that looks a lot like it. When you grab that, it hurts. So just be aware, smell one, but don't stick it on your nose without knowing what it is first, or you will have a very bad time. Fireweed, you've got all kinds of wildflowers and stuff growing right along the streams. You can forage your weight in raspberries and wild mushrooms. Don't eat the bad ones, they give you weird dreams. But the good ones sell for $75 a pound in markets. So if you know which ones you're looking for, you can have a very decadent dinner. So yeah, or have you a sweet little side hustle. So whatever you want to do there. But same thing. Some things change. Your little mammals change. You have your butterflies and all that change. That is a very scary animal in the woods. You don't know that, but if you're ever fishing and you go and you back up into a rock pile and one of these things pops out and goes, yeah, it scares the fire out of you. And that's the cutest animal in the woods. That's a little pika. They live at high elevation. If you don't think that's cute, once again, we need to work on your soul. But that right there, these things, they're just jerks. You can hate those things. I've had more pine cones thrown at me from that animal right there. It's terrible. But it's awesome. You're fishing and stuff like this, little weasels and ermines and stuff like that, and all your birds up there, man. It's just, I'm not even going to name them all. They're just everywhere. You've got all this stuff that changes as you go to the high country. You see the habitats change, but some of the species stay the same. You've got tree species that coincide in both places. You've got even wildlife and certain like warblers and stuff that go back and forth. So things that are familiar in Central Texas will still be found in those western states as well, and I love that. That's the scariest animal in the woods. Anybody grouse hunted before? Anybody? Okay. If you're going through the woods in Colorado and you are stomping through there, and one of those things is right here, and it decides to take off and flush, every man in this room is capable of octaves that you did not know you possess, and they are in the higher register. I can outscream any schoolgirl, anytime. You're sitting there with a fly rod in your hand, you're doing that, oh man, this is so beautiful out here. It's terrifying. It's like somebody started a tractor in your lap, but it's amazing. But I love it, man. You get up there and it's so incredible. But as you go, you'll see something that is amazing, and that is water that gets overlooked. And I mean, I can keep going. Like I said, there's a lot of birds, and there's a lot of big game in here too. I mean, shoot, who wouldn't want that? I mean, that's an incredible sight to see all these mama elk with the babies.
Did you take those pictures?
Yeah, that's all me.
Wow.
So I go some pretty cool places and see some pretty cool stuff. So I mean, I love that. It's just, it happens around you. The best thing you can be armed with is a camera. And I mean, it's spectacular. And yeah, you got to wear a lot of camo, so it works. But I mean, it's so incredible to see this stuff. And this is all while fishing or driving to and from. And yes, we were fishing when that happened. Notice the back half of the bear is very wet. It was in the creek we were fishing. Great bear experience. It ambled up, took a look at us, it went its way, we went ours, and proceeded to catch more cutthroat. Some things don't change. And yes, I got yelled at. My wife yelled at me for this one. I got a little close to that snake to get that shot. Now, everybody know what that is? Brown trout. Okay. How many brown trout are native to the U.S.? 0. Big fat 0. They are not native to the U.S. at all. They are all from Scotland and Germany. All right. This one, what is that? Rainbow trout. Okay. Everybody loves going to Colorado and catching those. How many of those are native to Colorado and New Mexico? 0. None of them. They are all introduced. Okay. We got some correct answers here. All right, cut bows. This is what I really hate, is where rainbow trout and cutthroat cross and we get these little mutts. I hate that. It means that we really screwed something up along the line. Now, that's right there, brook trout. How many of those are native to New Mexico and Colorado? 0. None of them. They are all native to the eastern seaboard. So they are not native to the western states at all. And a lot of people are like, oh man, brook trout, I love brook trout. I'm like, yeah, so do I, right next to my mashed potatoes. But anyway, sorry, I'm not a big proponent of catch and release on brook trout. I like eating those things. But this is the deal. If you go hiking some high country, some rare country, you'll find some of these. And that is a man-made fish barrier. Sometimes you find a God-made fish barrier. And so that right there prevents any of those non-native species from going upstream, and you find these. And that is one of the most incredibly gorgeous fish you will ever put your eyes on. That is a Rio Grande cutthroat trout. The only trout that would have historically been native to Texas. So and don't worry, yes, I've thought about bringing them back. We'll talk about that some other time. But these fish are exquisite and they're rare. They only occupy approximately 10 to 12% of their native range. That's how rare they are. But they're still what was that? Thousands. Yeah. Like this is that's probably an understatement, actually. This is my fish. Like when I go to Colorado, if I never catch a brown trout, brook trout, or rainbow trout the rest of my life, I do okay. I literally go to Colorado, New Mexico now and just hunt that fish. That's all I do.
But particularly why?
Why?
I mean, obviously I know it's a beautiful fish, but I mean,
it belongs there.
Okay.
And so that's the thing, is it's native and it's so rare. You know, if you did something everybody else did, sure, it's cool, it's fun, I enjoy it. This is something very few people do, and very few people even see this fish, much less know about it. And so to go places where it lives and to see these fish that time has more or less forgotten. I mean, the populations that are left, a good many of them, there are some that are restored, that the states have brought back and the feds have brought back, but there's some that are aboriginal, where these fish, like, some of these, they've never been put there other than since creation. I mean, this is incredible to see. You go in the back country to where nobody goes, cutting your own path. That's a really good sign you're in the right area. If you want a cheat sheet on how to find cutthroats, look up your Colorado and New Mexico fishing regs. If you find anything that looks like that, there's probably Rio Grande cutthroat in the stream you're not fish. This is another good sign you're in the right place. Catch and release trout water. This is a great sign you're in the right place, because I probably put that up there so you wouldn't fish there. But the whole deal being, when you get to these spots, you are buried in the woods, and these little creeks, most people in this room would not think to fish there. You'd walk right by that like there's nothing that lives in there. Yeah, you're right. There's probably not anything that lives in there. That creek is horrible. Never bothered with that. This water right here was made for that fish, and that fish is adapted over just just decades. I mean, just amazing to see how much, just the population will hold. You have 400 plus fish a mile in this stream. This stream actually right here, 2 years ago, it was running 800 fish a mile in a creek that you can step across. Now, if you want to do the math on that, that's a lot of fish in a little space. This type of water is what we're looking for. When we do this, pools like this, the whole thing's fishable. I might stay away from the super shallow stuff where fish are open to predation, but that's what it's all about. This is great because you can actually see the fish right here on the very edge of the current doing exactly what he should do, and that is catching any bugs that are coming down that fast stuff. And that's exactly what this is all about, is fishing these little hidden pockets back in the brush. If you are new to fly fishing, look up something called a bow and arrow cast. It's literally where you hold the rod flat, grab the fly, pull it back, and let it go. And it literally lands right on the target. You never even waved a stick in the air. You literally held your rod flat and let it fly go. The number of fish I catch with short rods in tight cover doing exactly that. You're all in camo, sneaking up on some of this stuff, and what do you see? you see cutthroats and more cutthroats, and they are incredible, sometimes feeding in incredibly shallow water. It's amazing to watch how these shapes, these enigmas just kind of appear. They're so bright out of the water, yet they can camouflage so well in their native environment. I mean, that right there, you could walk past that and miss it any day of any week. If it wasn't for the fish moving itself, you'd never see it. Now, some are a little easier to see, but that's just incredible to watch these things. Tails out of the water just like redfish sometimes, eating midges and stuff out of the dirt. It's cool. And I love these fish because they are that. They're rare, they're precious, they're native. And the thing about it, to answer your question, nobody does it. Very few people. I mean, how many people in this room caught a Rio Grande cutthroat? 1, 2, okay. That's not very many. I mean, we're looking at a very small percentage size out of a room like this. And that's something that's so cool is they're on public land. You can go get them. And there's a lot of great resources out there to help you target. I mean, this fish darn near beached itself while it was feeding. That's not a released fish. That is a fish actively feeding in shallow water. So it's incredible to watch these things. And now I'm kind of getting to the point, I've caught so many, to answer your question, how many have I caught? I've caught so many that now I just kind of like to go and look at it. Like, it's getting really weird, y'all. I'm kind of like, I got a fly rod in my hand. I'm like, I don't want to mess this day up. Just keep walking. So I mean, it's really special to be up there because I fish ants in the hill country. But carpenter ants up in the high mountains, probably one of the most deadly dry flies you could ever fish. And then this right here is God's gift to the fly fisherman. That is a lazy, clunky spruce moth. And they fly like woodstock out of peanuts. They suck at it. They're terrible. And they fall in the water all the time. We will catch trout that are so gorged you can see the little bumps from all the moths in their gut. It's incredible. I love watching it. So if you're gonna go prep for flies, this is kind of some of the stuff I do. It's just general smaller dry flies, you know, grasshopper patterns, mayfly patterns, anything like that. Nymphs, anything like that to drop below it. If anybody wants a picture of this, I can back up there for anybody taking pictures. There you go. I know the lists are long and nobody can write that fast. There you go. And the next one there for the dropper patterns, stuff like that. Some of these patterns will stay the same. You know, big fat ants, you know, the red squirrel nymph was on the other list for Texas. All these flies, you can use them interchangeably from the hill country to the high mountains as well. And it's these techniques, sneaking in there like that, getting close to your fish. I mean, this is a bow and arrow cast where you're literally pulling that back, making that shot in that corner pocket. It's awesome. And I did bring a rod with me too, so if we want to do some casting after this, we can totally do that. We'd love to show everybody how to do that. But I mean, using your environment and matching, once again, camo really comes in handy. And most people would never dream of fly fishing anymore. But with a bow and arrow cast, that makes that possible. This is what happens next. The cutthroat eats your fly. You're bent down. You got this little fiberglass rod just bowing in protest. You grab a net, you get in there, and you're holding literally one of the gems of the high country. And most people never, ever, ever even see these fish. Doesn't that look out of place? I mean, isn't that crazy? The whole, everything else, these greens and such, and you just have this fiery orange fish that just looks like something that doesn't even belong there. And this is what's so precious about it, is that's the fish that won the West. It's the one that earned the right to be there. Some of them get large, and even larger. That's a 21.5-inch one from a high mountain lake. If you follow these little blue line creeks all the way up to their sources, you will find fish like this that are very public, very accessible. You can be to that fish at about a 35-minute hike. I've seen people that have fished this lake that lied online and told you that it was a 3-day hike. So it's not true. I will say that. Now, with this, these fish are beautiful. I would highly encourage you to chase them. If there's any way we can ever help you get prepped as you go west and kind of add a native species to your list, would love to help you do that. But the one thing I would say is obviously catch and release. We do all that because a lot of times it's state mandated, but take some time to take it all in. Get up top of the world and soak it in. Smell the fresh air, absorb the moment, make the memory. Don't get so caught up in the technicality of fishing and all of that. And take your family. We've been taking our kids in there. This is little Lydia when she was super tiny. My wife is set up on a fish here, and that was the result, taking little Lydia in there. We've packed our kids into Alaska, Hawaii, Colorado, New Mexico, all the hill country in Texas. And my little family, this is what we do. We fish. We have a fly shop. We love to do it. I could put this one on a bug tray for 2 hours. She'd sit there and pick out mackerel and vertebrates for 2 hours straight. It's just what we do. I don't force my kids to fish. We make the memory. It's just what mom and dad do, so we do it as a family. Here's some resources for you as you plan your trip, and this will wrap this up. Here's some places to go. If you want to catch an aboriginal, been there for all of eternity past, just about since creation, and you want to go there and do this, Jack's Creek in New Mexico, they are aboriginal fish. They have actually never been stocked, That is just north of Pecos, New Mexico, if you're looking for that. It's very easy to find because it's right on a campground that bears the same name. The Conejos River, a lot of people go up there to fish. The Lake Fork of the Conejos is amazing. It's actually where I caught my first Rio Grande cutthroat. That creek is in great shape, and you will catch them by the dozens up there. It's a blast. The Rio Grande actual tributaries there, Carnero Creek, I'm going to tell you to leave that one off the list. It's had some hard years recently. There are some cutthroats higher up in the tributaries, but they're hard to locate. I would focus a little bit more here on the Lake Fork of the Conejos and Jim Creek, which is near Mojaro Reservoir. Resources, Trout Unlimited has a lot of great stuff, but I would say this is your number one right here. All you need to know is this top page. Colorado Parks and Wildlife, if you go to their Rio Grande Cutthroat Trout page, you will find more info about that fish if you want to plan your trip and do something exciting next time you're out west. And then Western Native Trout Initiative is yet another nonprofit that does a lot to further the species in a lot of areas that it's been extirpated in the past. So follow these groups on social media. Highly encourage you to do that. If there's anything we can help you with personally, I'd be happy to help you with. I've got business cards and stuff like that. We're a bunch of giveaways too, y'all. So we've got bumper stickers. By the way, if y'all are not already, if anybody is not a member of Trout Unlimited and would like to be, my shop is actually a Trout Unlimited Gold level business. And so we do a ton for conservation with the species. We do a lot of conservation work with it, and they allow us to give out free memberships. So if you would like to sign up, get you a great publication, make sure you're part of the Texas chapter. There's cards over there. Fill these out, just leave them on the table, filled out, and I'll mail them in for you. Don't even cost you a stamp. But there's plenty of bumper stickers and stuff like that. If you would like to stay in contact with the shop, please let us know if we can help you in any way. And with that, what are the questions? Yeah.
How are you deciding like to go to Colorado outside of your home base?
Great question. So the Rio Grande cutthroat for me is like where I feel like I love to fish for that. There's two other species of cutthroat that are native in Colorado as well. They're still in existence. And those are in the northern part of the state. And so greenback cutthroat and Colorado River cutthroat are more like northern and western. Rio Grande cutthroat are kind of southern central, kind of just over the New Mexico border. So for me, I fish South Fork a lot. South Fork, Creed, those are really great places to call home base. There's more public land around there that you can shake a stick at, and there's plenty of cutthroats to do. Another one. Yeah, I just look at a map. Yeah, and then the other thing is, roll watch out. So I mean, that's what we. If you're going up there, and you're like, I would really like to do this. I'll put X on that for you. I'm not shy. You want to go? I'd love to introduce you to that fish. So I'll draw an X on the map and go right to it. But no, I want people to fall in love with that fish because information and lack thereof is the biggest threat to the species.
Chris, what's your feeling on saltwater fly fishing?
Love it. It's absolutely incredible. I don't get to do it enough. I'm going to go to the Keys in May. I'm going to go tangle with some tarpon. Probably get my butt kicked pretty soundly because, I'm catching a lot of fish that are this big, not that big. But I love it. I mean, going to the Texas coast, it's part of Texas. I mean, catching redfish in small creeks, not a whole lot different than a lot of this. It's just a bigger tackle. So, anybody else?
More questions?
I explained it all. You're good. Hey, well, thank y'all so much for having us. Seriously.
Thank Chris for everything that he did. He'll be around for casting instructions as well. So if you guys have an interest, again, he's a certified casting instructor with Fly Fishers International. So appreciate him being here. And ultimately, just want to thank you guys again for being a part of this. It's been so cool watching different speakers we can have come. Now, as we had talked about before, we had 4 events last year. This year we have 6. And actually the sponsorships keep on decreasing in cost, thank God. So if you all have an interest in being a sponsor, being a member, would love for that to be a point that you would have as interest. And in addition to these 4 events, we obviously are looking at different types of trips, different types of hunts, that kind of thing. So we'll continue to advance on that as well. Our next event's in May, as you can see here, Andy Anderson, one of the best photographers in the game. A lot of the magazine pictures that you see, a lot of them are done by Andy. John Collinson, I think he's summited all of the top 7 summits on the planet, and he also is a hella skier. Phenomenal guy. He's like in the best shape on planet Earth. Jay Novacek, I don't know if there's any Cowboys fans here, but Jay is a huge hunter, big game, bird hunter, dog trainer, etc. And then Yako Lucas, not shy to this area of the world. I know that he's from Austin, but used to guide the Seychelles and all over the planet. event. So we've got some good ones coming, but most importantly, just so appreciate you guys being here. One last thing I did want to mention, we had a format change recently. You know that we've been around about a year. Everyone that comes needs a wristband. In order to have a wristband, you either have to be a member, I guess a member, or sign up day of. It's only $75. The food that we have is usually about $45 to $50 if you were to pay for it off the street. And actually, with everything that we have coming in, just realize that this is a 501c3. It's a tax write-off, and you are helping conservation by doing it. As we continue to advance with the sponsorships, everyone that gains, I think it's 5 different members, or brings in 5 members, gets a part of our advisory council, and gets the ability to allocate the excess money at the end of the year, giving it to other outdoor nonprofits. So again, that trend of being able to do that away for the outdoors. But again, so appreciate you guys being a part of it. Grab drink, grab food, enjoy yourself. We're here to close. So thanks again for everything.
Yeah, we might be interested in it. Absolutely.
It's all we're like, man, we're gonna have a good day.
Lucky you.
Hey, but at least it's there.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah, but he's already wrapped around the feet.
Yeah, girls are excited. Thanks again for everything. Nice, dude. Please do. Please do. Do it. Yeah, I much prefer. Yeah, I love that. That's right, brother. You're awesome, man. So enjoy catching up with you. You're the best. Absolutely.
You're doing something I'm not doing.
Hey, we'll see. Maybe eventually. Thanks. Thanks. Oh, thanks. Oh, look at that. That is incredible.
I really enjoy it's all part of it. Don't take this the wrong way. All of a sudden, yeah, I'm just saying applies everywhere. It's all home fish flats, it's all fish flats, it's like if we were just there waiting on deer and the deer doesn't come and it was disappointment. No, when you hunt, it's like you're there. And that's part of it. So like fishing is just how's fishing? Oh, it's terrible. And you aren't doing it right. Right. Like you're gonna stop hunting and realizing that wake up and smell the coffee just a little bit more than the other folks do.
So good, but anyways.
That's a lot of people. I mean, especially living up here. I mean, if you live in Texas, I mean, like, it's a little flat. There's some reservoirs. The rivers aren't clear. But I mean, you're driving 4 hours that way. Not even that far, actually. I mean, the public grass is river, like Waco, and even wants to be right. And when you're where are you staying over? We actually are spreading out quite a bit these days. We've got float trips that are 3 hours away from us. And we're just meeting people out there and doing it. We do lots of trips in Colorado this summer. We do all around the hill country proper. We're all over. It's getting hard. Always good to have the right stuff. But thoroughly enjoying it. Like, I don't get you happy. The people that don't miss the greatest thing, really. I put yeah. Yes. Right? Stop. Yeah, you can be more. So, yeah, we were unnamed cruisers and we're camping out, sleeping in hammocks. And we got up the next morning, it was about 210 adults. And then our shop was right, about 30 his family now. It's not an accident. I mean, I would have seen everything right. Well, that's awesome. Love that. Love the it's absolutely a pleasure.